Hello, peeps. Welcome back. Just going to take a minute and take a breath here because I just wanted to let you guys know with the new year that we're starting with our podcast, which has just been so amazing to have so many great guests and so many good topics about the mother daughter wound and teaching about toxic people and moms and watching different programs and all of that kind of stuff to just kind of dig into the emotional side of like growing up with trauma in these broken relationships. It takes a lot to just continually find topics. I can't always just talk about the same kind of thing with the mother daughter wound, which is why I kind of veer off and look through just mental health in general. So I hope that you guys are enjoying that and are on the ride with me because I am learning more about story work and trauma responses. And we just did one on an emotional response to how our body and our brains feel when we go through different emotional things. And so all of these things I want to share with you guys. That is why I do these studies and why I get these certifications, is so that then I can bring them to you to help you if you are in a position where you can't do coaching one-on-one. It's not really time-wise in your cycle right now or in your budget right now or whatever the reasons are. Podcasts are a great resource to be able to focus on something for a half an hour and just learn something new that maybe flips the switch in your brain to help you realize that the things that you have gone through in the past that are trauma filled, we can start to repair those things. We don't completely get rid of them, but we can repair them and we can find ways to help us cope with them. And that's me included. So it's been amazing how many times I get triggered back into certain situations. But now I realize it, I recognize it really quickly, and I go, hold on. And I start asking myself really good questions. So as we go through this year, I just want you to know I will still be studying on the mother-daughter wound, but I also am going to expand that to just, mental health things so that we can have a broader perspective. Because oftentimes, even though we started with a mother-daughter wound, it could be going into different kinds of triggers throughout your work week or your personal relationships or all these different things, which always leads back to the trauma. But we want to learn more than just, I don't want it to just be, we're going to talk about our moms and all these horrible things and really not come to any conclusions. That's not what this podcast is about. And so I always want to do things with love and with responsibility. And so I just felt like I needed to say that because I think we've been doing this long enough where you're probably like, oh, why is she talking about that today and not, the mother-daughter wound kind of thing. And it's like it all cycles through the mother-daughter wound. You can relate these different things to, but I want to educate you guys to really expand your thinking so that it's not so linear of, we don't want to play the blame game of everything is my mom's fault and, I can't see past that. So that's my little TSA. Just wanted to start off saying that because I do have some interesting topics coming up. And today, this is one of those topics that's kind of more wide ranging, but it kind of veers back to your childhood of like, do you mourn the person that you were? Like, do you miss that person? Or do you champion who you are? I think this is such a great analogy and something to think about because I find that sometimes when I talk to certain people, they kind of get stuck in this cycle of like they're kind of like reliving that story, but it's almost like they don't want to leave that story. They just want to stay in that past. They want to, remember that one tiny little good time. And they keep going back to like, but why can't it be like this? Instead of, how can I champion the person that I am now? And so my question was, are you stuck mourning the person you're trying to break away from because it seems easier than the healing work and the change? Or do you champion the person you're becoming, even though it's hard and you don't know what's going to happen? Because that's the crazy thing about growth is you don't know where you're going to end up, but you know it has to be better than where you are. The journey to start changing some of these habits, they hurt and they can be tricky. Some of these old ways are easy on some levels, and changing everything can just spin your head. So let's explore when you start the process of getting to a healthy place, but wonder if it's too hard and scary with the unknown. And should I just stay where I am? Let's talk about it. Okay, so the reason this topic came up is because I was looking through baby pictures to put on the tables for our baby shower that we're having for Dominique. So we wanted baby pictures of her, and we got baby pictures of her husband. And we framed them and put them on the tables for the luncheon we were having to show people this is what they looked like as babies. Their baby's going to be a combination of these kind of things. But what happened, and this happens every time, and if you are, I would say, someone who's melancholy or like an HSP, a highly sensitive person, you get drawn into these tunnels. Like you start to look for one thing, and it's not like, well, let me just look for this and put it away, and that's it. That's how some people are. No, we start flipping through old photo albums, and I had boxes of pictures that I hadn't even put away, which is so weird. Side note, it's so bizarre looking at photos now when everything is on our phone or on the computer. Very bizarre. But I digress. Anyway, so I was looking through these pictures, and all these other pictures came up of the past. And when I tell you, I came across some pictures of me when I was in my 20s, and it was at one of our hometown garlic festivals. And I'm from Gilroy, California, so we used to have the biggest garlic festival, 3-day festival. It was from Friday to Sunday. It was a huge thing back in the day, and I worked for Christopher Ranch, as my husband did too, for many, many years. And we were very involved with the festival because we were the garlic company. And so we supplied all the garlic for this festival. It was world known. It's been on GMA. It's on all these cooking shows. We had high-end chefs coming in and doing things on the cooking stage. Like, it's a big deal. So I was immersed into this life. But what was funny is I looked at this picture, and you know how I'm going to say me, maybe not you, but sometimes I look at these young starlets or whatever, sometimes not even young ones, but these people, these women in celebrityum, right? Like they're a singer, they're a dancer, they're an actress, whatever. I'm looking at what they're wearing and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? Like, no, you shouldn't be wearing that. Guys, I have to eat crow. I'm looking at this picture. I think I was 27 years old. Now, I'll just make an excuse. The style was these silky, sporty, matching tank tops, which were kind of short tank tops, and silky shorts, short shorts. I looked at that picture, I'm like, I am almost naked. Like, this is crazy. Like, I mean, I had great legs, guys. I was very in shape. And I was like, I mean, legs look great. But, this picture, amazingly enough, too, I'm looking at this picture. There's a bunch of us standing there taking the picture. One of the guys that's standing next to me is not looking in the camera. He's looking at me. And at my legs in particular, or thereabouts. And I thought, oh, those were good times. Man, I had such a great body. wow, I remember having a lot of fun. And I started kind of mourning that old time. And then I remembered, but I don't really miss that. Because when I think of that young, confused woman that just gave in to everyone's demands, I would never be that person again. And also, I take such great thought into presenting myself well that I would never be caught dead wearing something. And even if I had the body for it, I see a lot of women over 50 going, well, if you can and you look great, you should. And I'm like, should you? I don't know. And it's not a judgment. Like, if you want to, great. I don't feel comfortable. For me, I don't want that to be the focus of my life. I want people to see me and I want them to hear me. I don't want them to focus on my outfits or lack thereof. And so that was one part. But also, I'm looking at that young girl and I'm thinking there were so many times that I couldn't use my voice. So even though I kind of mourned for a second, I was like, oh, the good old days. I then was like, oh my gosh, I don't miss that young girl at all because she was just doing whatever everyone else wanted to do. She was super lost. And I think, when you make a move to change and move to another place, it is confusing and hard and it can be overwhelming. And I remember starting that process of being like, I don't think I want to be in this circle anymore. I don't think I don't want to be doing drugs anymore on the weekends. Like, even if it's recreational, I don't want to drink that much. I don't want to do other things that I shouldn't be doing. But I don't know how to do that shift yet, but I know it has to start. And it's kind of overwhelming because it is easier to stay in these places where it's not even that it's comforting, but on some level, maybe comforting, but it's comfortable. Not because it's comfortable as a whole, it's just what you know. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to just hang out with the same people and do the same things. And it's rote, like you just know how to do it. It's you don't have to think about it and you don't have to think about your conscience. You just keep doing the same things. But one day you wake up and your conscience is a little bit higher where you go, I don't think this is making me happy anymore and I need to make a change. But when you start thinking of all the possibilities of what you have to do to get out of this circle and start something completely new, it is overwhelming. And that tends to get a lot of people stalled where they're just like, it's too hard. And then I have to say goodbye to maybe some friendships or maybe my job or Friday nights, or whatever it is. I may have to change everything I'm doing. So as I reflected on that time, there were a few things that came to me that I thought that I would share with you. Especially if you're at the beginning of your journey and you're starting to see something new and better for your life. So there's no one size fits all for this. These are just my experiences. But when I looked at those pictures, I had such a visceral reaction to it and many memories flooded my mind. There's a few pointers on how to move through those feelings. If you find yourself wandering back through your memory bank of your mind, or you come across old pictures like I did, and you need to process some things, let's figure this out for you. You might find yourself catching your breath when you see those old pictures. I know I did. I forgot how young and fresh I looked, and then I mourned that I didn't feel that way at the time. I mourned about the way I felt about my body, my career, the relationship with my mom, but most importantly, the relationship with men. And I'm still learning that there's no shame in the mistakes that I made. It just shows me how far I've come. So if you're at the beginning of this journey, please know that if you start it and you continue it and you keep going, you're going to look back even 2 years, 5 years from now and be like, wow, look at how far I've come. it's going to be hard. It's going to be different. There's going to be things you're going to have to definitely change. But when you look back at that younger person, you're going to be like, wow, that poor little girl, like, who was that? She had great legs, but she was messed up and she was confused. I can champion the things that I've made and remember how long it's taken me to get here. We don't need to go by anyone else's time clock. This isn't something that you have to change tomorrow and completely change everything all at once. Take baby steps. Do one little thing. Remove one little thing if it's not healthy for you and you know it's not healthy for you. Just start to remove that. Just that one little thing. Continue on with your life. And then, maybe in a month, do something else and then something else. Or maybe you are ready to just I just need a whole change. Maybe you need to move somewhere else. Maybe I don't know what it is, but you're going to know how much or how little, how fast of a pace that you can go. And no one has the right to tell you, well, you just need to change everything and you need to start over. It's like, well, maybe you don't need to start over. Maybe you just need to remove some things to get yourself to champion yourself to where you want to be. I remember some things that I probably would have done differently, even in the relationship with my mom and my siblings. But I also know that our place of where we can end up can be twisted, and it's also a learning place at the same time. And so I'm proud of the way that things ended up, even if I find some things in the past a little cringeworthy. Gosh, burn those short shorts. I laughed at those things now because I know who I am and I'm happy with myself. So, we're all entitled to look back and go, yeah, wasn't the best choice, but it's okay. That's where I was at the time. And I learned from it. I started growing from that. God always has a plan, even when we don't know where he's leading us. When I think of all the times I ignored his tender voice, I giggle because he never gave up on me. He just kept hanging around in my head until I started to listen. It's okay to cry about the things that didn't work out the way that you thought that they would. And it's okay to cheer yourself on for better things. And it's absolutely necessary, in fact. We don't want to just always cling to the things that should have been and cry about that. You are acceptable to cry. It's okay. You don't need to apologize for your tears, but you don't want to get stuck in your tears either. You want to give yourself a pat on the back and cheer yourself on and say, you know what? I messed up over here, but there's a couple things over here that I'm doing really well. You can be your own best cheerleader when you know that you are thriving and new things are coming your way. So I hope that this helped you. I know that taking me back to I don't even want to say 40 plus years, for at least 37 years, I'll say. That was just a crazy time. But also I look back at that and I am championing myself because what a beautiful thing that I can look back and go, but look at where I ended up now. This is great. So until next time, peeps, just continue on, be the champion for yourself, and I will see you next time. Bye.